Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word powered by PlanetF1.com. Now, during the 2024 Italian Grand Prix at Monza, Kevin Magnussen was handed a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision with Pierre. That time penalty also came with 2 points on his super license, which took his total for a 12-month period to the maximum 12 allowed, meaning his license was suspended for one race and as a result would miss the next race at Baku. But how did he end up on that threshold in the first place? In this video, we take a look at when, where and why the Dane was handed his penalty points and ultimately how he became the first banned F1 driver in 12 years. Before we get into that, race bans are not actually something we have seen all that often over the years, with just a handful of drivers being hit with that hefty sanction. Something perhaps surprising given the high-speed wheel-to-wheel racing that makes F1 what it is. In fact, the last time a driver received a race ban in Formula One was in 2012. That driver, well, that was Mr. Romain Grosjean himself. He was suspended for the 2012 Italian Grand Prix for causing the infamous crash at the start of the race at Spa that year, which saw Grosjean go airborne and, bear with us here, eliminate himself, Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, Kamui Kobayashi, and Pastor Maldonado, a driver no stranger to chaos, was caught up in the incident too. The steward stated the collision was an extremely serious breach of the regulations which had the potential to cause injury to others, and even took an extremely dim view of the fact that it resulted in the elimination of leading championship contenders from the race. Alonso, of course, leading Mark Webber in the championship prior to that race by 40 points, and eventual champion Sebastian Vettel by 42 points. Neither Lotus nor Grosjean made any submission in mitigation of penalty, and the Frenchman received a €50,000 fine as well. He was a wrecking ball before Miley Cyrus even had the chance to sing about it. Yes, that's right, a Miley Cyrus reference. Anyway, he returned for the Singapore Grand Prix with his place being taken at Monza by Jerome D'Ambrosio. Remember him? Back to Kevin Magnussen though, who, interestingly enough, started the 2024 season with a clean licence, so 0 penalty points. That didn't last too long though, as he received his first lot of points at the second race of the season at Jeddah. Now, it was an eventful race for the Dane, who spent much of it as a mobile roadblock, playing the team game to help Nico Hülkenberg score a point, and received a penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. However, it was his collision with Alex Albon that resulted in him receiving those nasty penalty points. Magnussen was deemed to have not left enough space for the Williams at turn 4, which resulted in contact and even caused minor damage to Albon's car. He was given a 10-second penalty for that incident and 3 penalty points for his super licence, the stewards deciding he was wholly or predominantly to blame for the contact. A whole 2 races would pass without the Dane receiving any more penalty points, and next up was the Chinese Grand Prix in April. The safety car was deployed during the race after Valtteri Bottas pulled over with an engine issue and retired his Sauber. At the restart, Magnussen went for a move up the inside of Yuki Tsunoda at turn 6, but got a snap of oversteer, which resulted in his Haas hitting the RB's rear wheel, pitching the car into a spin and ending Tsunoda's race. The Dane also picked up a puncture thanks to that contact. Once again, the stewards deemed Magnussen was predominantly to blame for the collision, and so he received a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points to take him to 5 for a 12-month period. Team boss Ayo Komatsu disagreeing with the penalty, though, believing it was just a racing incident. Either way, the penalty points were now on his licence, but it was at the next round in Miami where things would really take a turn and put Magnussen on extremely thin ice for the rest of the season. The 2024 Miami Grand Prix featured 2 races across the weekend this year, with the second sprint of the year taking place on Saturday and the Grand Prix on Sunday, the first of Magnussen's penalty points coming as a result of his actions in the sprint. K-Mag was in a tight and intense fight with Lewis Hamilton for several laps, the two battling for P8 and 9 at the time. However, at the turn 14-15 chicane, he drove his Haas clean across the runoff area and gained an advantage, pulling out an extra few metres ahead of the long DRS zone down the straight that followed, helping in his defence against the Mercedes, of course. He was given a 10-second time penalty as a result for leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage. On lap 11, Hamilton looked to have the move done on the run to turn 11, but Magnussen braked extremely late, ran wide into the runoff again, and even banged wheels with the Mercedes through the next corner and maintained his position. He was handed another 10-second time penalty for that incident, the stewards again deciding he had gained a lasting advantage after leaving the track. On lap 14, he did it again whilst trying to keep Hamilton at bay and was given another 10-second time penalty, but crucially was also handed 3 penalty points after the stewards explained that, as it was the 3rd time he had left the track and gained an advantage in the same race, they believed it could be considered an aggravating circumstance, which allows the stewards to hand out points as per the penalty guidelines. Magnussen was also given a 5-second penalty for leaving the track without justifiable reason multiple times, meaning he lost a whopping 35 seconds in the race due to those penalties. It is also worth a quick mention that following the sprint, Magnussen was investigated for unsportsmanlike behaviour. However, the stewards took no further action on that one. It didn't get much better for the Haas driver on race day either, after he was found wholly to blame for a collision with Logan Sargent, which saw the Williams eliminated from the race. That resulted in a time penalty, but also 2 more super license penalty points, which when added to those picked up across the rest of the weekend took him from 5 pre-Miami to 10 post-Miami. Yes, he doubled his tally in just one race weekend, and in GTA terms, because why not, earned himself a 5-star wanted level. Magnussen was walking a tightrope as a result of his driving across the event at Miami, but he managed to behave himself until after the summer break. But there was one big moment at Monaco that on another day could have seen him potentially banned sooner. The first lap collision on the run up the hill at the start between Sergio, Perez, Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen caused much debate at the time, with some saying Magnussen should have received a penalty for putting his car in a dangerous or risky place and not backing out, some saying it was on Perez for not leaving enough space and squeezing Magnussen, and others that it was nothing more than an unfortunate first lap racing incident, albeit a pretty big and expensive one, and that those sorts of incidents, especially around a tight track like Monaco, are all part of racing. As it turned out, these stewards effectively agreed with the latter opinion. The collision was reviewed during the red flag period, but it was decided that no further investigation or action was necessary. That was, depending on your view, probably the closest Magnussen came to picking up more penalty points, and as a result a race ban. That was, of course, until Monza. Magnussen went for a move down the inside of Pierre at turn 4, but locked up and crashed into the side of the Frenchman, sending him across the runoff area. The stewards decided that, once again, Magnussen was wholly to blame for the contact and did state that they did not believe he was driving in a safe and controlled manner. Pierre himself, though, did not believe the incident between the two was worthy of a penalty, saying he was surprised by it and described the whole thing as a bit of wheel-to-wheel and hopes the decision is overturned as he believes it to be unfair. However, it must be said that Haas have accepted that he will not be racing in Baku, but he will be back in time for Singapore a week later. There is a little bit of good news for K-Mag though. Once he has served his one race ban at Baku, all of his penalty points will be removed from his super license, meaning he will have a lot more wriggle room to get out there and make some more of his, let's say, risky moves, and maybe be an absolute menace out on track, especially with his F1 career set to come to an end at the end of the year. He can get out there and have some fun. What do you think, though? Do you believe Magnussen's latest penalty was justified? Is he a driver deserving of a ban? Or do you perhaps agree with Pierre about the incident at Monza that took the Haas driver over the penalty point threshold? You can let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and to catch up on the latest Formula One news and reaction, head on over to planetf1.com. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.